Alright, so I gave you guys 4 problems and I asked you to use your unit circle and then also the triangles, right? I'm actually going to do the triangles first because that's something we learned previously, and then we're connecting it to the unit circle, which we just learned yesterday. So cotangent of 45 degrees is between 0 and 360, so I know it's in my unit circle. 45 degrees, I know the quadrantals are 0 and 90. So I know that this angle has to be in quadrant 1. Well, if I draw a 45-degree angle, there's my 45 degrees. Class always across the 45 is? 1. This is a 45. Across the 45 is? 1. And then your radius will be in this problem, radical 2. Cotangent is x over y. So I can just do 1 over 1. And my answer is 1. Raise your hand if you got that. So if I use my unit circle, all I need to focus in quadrant 1. Remember the order pairs go x, y. So I just need to find the 45s. Here, using the unit circle, I just have to use the numerators because this is x over r, y over r. So this is radical 2 over radical 2. And radical 2 over radical 2 is just 1. Let's stay in quadrant 1 and focus on the next problem. The next problem says tangent of pi over 4. Well, guess what? Pi over 4, anything with a denominator 4 in radians is a 45. You could do the same thing. You can convert it to degrees to give yourself an idea of which special right triangle. And then you're essentially doing the same thing as this last problem, right? The y is equal to 1. Remember, it's a y because it's parallel to the y-axis. The x value is also a positive 1 because you're going towards the right. It goes along with the x-axis. And across the right angle, you have the radius to be radical 2. And you're essentially doing the same thing as this problem, right? Y over x. 1 over 1. And your answer is 1. Raise your hand if you got that. So if I use my unit circle, I do the same thing. You can go to pi over 4 or 45 degrees. It's here. This one, tangent is y over x. So this would be the radical 2 over radical 2. And that also equals 1. Let me go ahead and do sine of 210. Sine of 210 degrees, if you count the quadrantals, this is 0, 90, 180. This is 240 degrees, so I know it has to be somewhere in here.
270.
Thank you. So here, my reference angle is going to be a 30. The reason why it's a 30-degree angle is because 180 plus 30 gives me the 210. And remember, I'm making my reference angle, has to be acute, has to be positive. And I make my triangles with the x-axis, the bow tie. Across the 30 class is the... What length is it? Y is equal to a positive or negative? Negative 1. Always across the 30, and 30, 60, 90 is 1. Across the 60 is what? Radical 3. Positive or negative?
Negative.
And then our radius is 2. So sine is which 2 letters?
Y over R.
And y over r is just negative 1 over 2. Raise your hand if you got negative 1/2. So if I look at my unit circle, I look at 210 degrees. 210 degrees. Remember, this is cosine, this is sine. There it is, negative 1/2. And you can verify that. All students take calculus, so only tangent and cotangent are positive. You should have a negative result. And the last one, secant of 23 pi over 6. Now, classes out in the unit circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to subtract. Why do I always write the answer? I'm going to subtract a full rotation. Do you guys remember that? They're called coterminal angles. I need to find something that's on the unit circle. This is too big, so I can subtract or add a full circle, full rotation. So I can add or subtract 360 degrees, but this is a radian, so this would be negative 12 pi over 6. So if I subtract that, I get secant of 11 pi over 6. Notice how this starts with radians, and I'm still working with radians. Some of you are trying to convert it to degrees. That's okay if it gives you an idea. So if I look at 11 pi over 6, remember, if you're counting the 30-degree angles and you skip the 45s, 0. 1 over 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pi over 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So here I have this ordered pair. Now we're looking for secant, which is which letters? R over x. So I basically just need to take cosine and then flip it. Find cosine and flip it. Radical 3 over 2. But radical 3 over 2 is x over r. Did you guys notice that? So if I take the reciprocal of that, I get 2 over radical 3. Again, the reason why I'm taking the reciprocal is because it tells me cosine is radical 3 over 2. But I need secant. So there I just need to rationalize it. 2 multiplied by radical 3 over 3. That gives me 2 radical 3 over 3. I'll double check my quadrants. All students take calculus. So cosine and secant are positive. You see that? And if you did this, you would recognize that this is a 30-degree angle. I'm rushing because there's 2 students annoying me in the back of the classroom. And I have a y equals a negative 1. Oh wait, it's one of my students. R equals 2. Crosses 60, x is equal to a positive radical 3. And you're just doing the same thing. R over x would have given you 2 over radical 3. So I'm hoping that you see this problem, you get to see both the unit circle and the triangles.